Hi, and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
Today we're hiding Beth with a tree because it's almost Christmas.
When you view this, it'll be Christmas Eve.
Yes. Happy Christmas Eve. We hope your holiday season is going well. Sometimes it can be hard. I know it's been hard for me. But we hope that all is well for all of you. Thanks for all of our new viewers. We've had quite a few. And it's exciting. So we're on our way to 400. Right? No, we're on our way. We're over 400 now. Are we?
I don't know.
I haven't looked.
What are we?
I don't know.
I'm confused. I have to look at my own videos. Anyway. No, that's right, because we hit 400. And we
hit 300, I thought.
We hit 3?
Yeah.
No, I think it's 4.
Oh, I don't know.
You see how...
I hit 300 episodes. I guess that's why I had the number 300 in my head.
Anyway.
We have 411.
411, yeah. See, like we just hit 400 a little bit ago. So welcome to all of you who are new subscribers. I'm so sorry. But I guess we should move this tree because it's in Beth's face.
Yes.
So I'm gonna put it.
Oh, I didn't want to put it off center.
Well, there we go. Put it right here in the edge of the, so you can still see a cute little tree. We'll move this one a little bit. Yeah. Rearrange on the fly. Beth's going first.
Yes. Let me get this. I just was pulling apart a thread and I forgot I was going first. I'm working today on Black Cat season just because I wanted to give it some love so I could finish this particular page.
There's nothing like
but
working
it's
on
the same
Halloween
as,
the day right before
it's
Christmas.
the same as it was before, so I'm not bothering to show it right now. I was just telling Eve and Naomi that I've been stitching like crazy, but everything that I was working on this week are for Christmas presents. And so I have nothing to show for it because I didn't want, because I've already put all the gifts in their gift bags for, so like I made I think I showed the things from the booklet, the snowball booklet, and I have some photographs, so they'll be inserted.
Give some time to insert.
Can you scoot down a little bit? Sorry. No, I'm hidden, and I don't like being hidden.
But so we'll put pictures in of them. So I made I showed the finished pieces, but they weren't FFO'd yet. So I FFO'd them this week, and I did some other secret stitching, which I will not show. And so anyway, that's what I did all this week. I was like crazy until last night, and then I finally started on my second WIP-GO piece. The first one I did a little bit more. I didn't quite get as far as I wanted to get, but I did finish this fourth elephant, except for I think I still have a few stitches left to go on the little flower crown that the elephant is wearing, and a few stitches to go on the little Quaker type squares here. But I did hit the goal of 6 days. I just didn't get quite as far as I wanted to because I wanted to get to that Christmas stitching, so I haven't done any more. So I may or may not do a few more stitches on that. And that is the Elephant Discorn You. Sorry, I didn't show this. Elephant Discorn You by Tiny Modernist. And that was on my WIP-GO thing. And my other WIP-GO call for this month was this Voyage of Discovery, Christopher Columbus quincentennial chart. It was done in 92. Was the quincentenary jubilee of the Columbus voyage, the Nina Pinta and the Santa Maria. So I just started this yesterday. The goal is 6 days, so I just have time to do it this month. It would help if I held it right side up. So last night I worked on this really tiny top sail up here, and basically finished the sail, and then the little crow's nest I worked on. Except it needs a few stitches because one thing that I did for some reason in all my brilliance was pulled everything out of my Voyage of Discovery project bag. I pulled all the threads out. Even pulled the hoop out. So I opened up, I was thinking, oh, I don't think I pulled the threads out of that because there were so many of them. I don't think I did that. And then I opened up the bag, and there's no hoop in there. There's no threads in there at all.
You cannibalized everything?
I cannibalized everything. And so I'm
I've
sitting
done
there.
that before. I'm like, where are the needles for this project?
So I was going through my I have a box where when I'm done stitching stuff, I've just been throwing threads in there, so they're not organized. I have not been. I have 5 of those plastic thread box things, from Doris or whoever, and I have them all in numerical order, all the DMC threads in numerical order, except that I've been pulling them out of there for various projects. And I have 4 little tiny boxes, and one of them is a bunch of threads that Naomi gave me, and then I have 3 boxes of just random threads because I used to use them for specific projects, like my ship projects. I used to have all the threads for all the ships in one of those boxes, but I pulled them all out at some point. So anyway, those boxes are just full of just random, whenever I'm done with a project, I've crammed them in there. But then I just started throwing them in this other little cardboard box thing. So I was sitting there spinning, I don't know how much I was going, hey, is this one? No, is it? No, until I found enough to work with. So that's why
because if you don't do that, then you wind up having to double, triple, quadruple buy.
That's what I'm going to be doing.
So with the snowman, it had so many threads, right? So I pulled them from wherever I had them. But when I was going back to recently, I was like, where are these threads? And I would look and see a lot of them were in the snowman. And I just went, I'm just going to buy it again. Because then when I go to work on that snowman, especially if I finished that project, I won't know where it is.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
So I was just like, I'm just going to buy it again.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I was. But so I did the sail and part of the crow's nest, but I couldn't find some of the colors that were in there. And then, so I went to work over here on this. There's a little bit of this cloud left here, and a few stitches that are there's some seagulls that you basically make them with back stitching, but they have a few stitches in them, so that's part of what's in there. Yeah. So my next thing, I want to finish this cloud, and that'll kind of help me get to the next sail and the next ship over here. But also I want to do the body of this ship here. And I was looking at it going, can I do there's some map kind of things on the corners that, one side shows the old world and one side shows the new world. And so there's a little bit of water and a little bit of land, but it's all done with 1 thread and half stitches. And so it's like, I don't have the brains to think about that right now. So I'm wanting to do and then this part here with the water and the land is done with 1 thread also, but it's full cross here. So it's very complicated. And then there's this, and the pattern calls for.
I thought that was just clouds. I didn't realize that was maps.
No, yeah, it's maps. And then there's a little, banner thing and a place to put your initials, whatever, and the years and all that junk. And so, but the pattern calls for Krynic, and I kind of am thinking that I'm not going to use Krynet because it calls for like 2 strands of gold blending filament or whatever, and then 1 strand of particular color for the different things. And so I think I might look at maybe some étoile or something like that to blend with the thread, you know,
that accentuate that I get at the attic.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to use, and it's very shiny.
Do either of you have any lotion?
Yeah. Here
hands
in
are,
my
like, super
bag
dry.
right here.
I'm sorry. Oh,
Oh, okay.
Eve beat you. Thank you.
But so, but I haven't thought that far ahead really to think about. No, I can't put this back.
Ooh, I like that.
But anyway, so I'm working just working with whatever threads I could find. So I'm working on this cloud over here, and then also, like I said, I want to go down to the bottom half to work on the ship itself, just because I'm sick of doing white. And so that's all I've got right now, because like I said, everything I did is put away. So
You want me to go next?
Sure.
All right. And if we're rushing, we might. It feels like we're rushing because it's like I have so many stuff to do. So, okay. So all y'all know. Oh, the stocking, the baby stocking. I have a picture of it here because I already finished it and gave it away for baby Sophia. And I forgot to take a picture of it before I let go of it. I hung it on my mantle, and it looked so cute while I was waiting for my friends to come pick it up. I should have taken a picture of it. But so I said, "Can you send me a picture?" And she very sweetly sent me a picture, but it's just on her couch. So I was like, I wanted it hung up, but that's okay. I didn't specify it. But here's a picture of the stocking. It finally came out. When I was making it, it was kind of like the heel and the toe were like just not hanging right, of course. But I'm like, I know it'll block out fine. And so I took my steamer with acrylic yarn. You have to be careful because I didn't want to. Soaking it doesn't work the way it does with wool. But so I laid it on my ironing board and got my steamer and was like right like this far from it just to heat it up a little bit. And it blocked out beautifully so that when it hung really nice. You'll see the picture. So that was done. That was my work for hire. Even though I was tempted to be like, this is just your Christmas gift from me. But I was like, no, she agreed to pay for it. I'm gonna be proud of my work. And so that was nice.
Well, besides that, you said it was the grandmother.
Yeah.
She wants to know that she purchased
Yeah. So
the custom-made stuff.
yeah. So anyway, they loved it. So it was a nice visit from my friends. And so did that. And then I was like that mouse. I'm going to put up a picture of that mouse meme I've seen where there's a mouse and his tail, he has a stocking on his, a sock on his tail, and he's knitting, and he's like, everyone gets a tail sock this year.
yeah.
That was me. I was like, everyone gets socks this year. But, so I was like, I've made long socks, right? But I have several people who want short socks. And so I was like, I'm not going to get my gift yarn and make an experiment. So I had some yarn and I made these. This was my learning socks. These are my learning socks. They're a little short. They have a little short tab on the heel. You can see. Oh, maybe I hold it here. There's a little tab, and it's a deeper heel than I usually make on my socks, which maybe now I'll make on all my socks. But I had to learn how to make this little part, this little heel cuff. And then I wore them the next day to work, and they were fabulous. So these were my experimental socks. And then I went to make a pair of socks for somebody. I won't say who. But my waist yarn and my sock yarn were too close to the same color. So, and also it was like a cursed night. It was just, I made these. I didn't really have any trouble, but when I went to do that, the waste yarn was popping off. I had forgot to put the weight in at one point, so everything, all my stitches just went like it was just everything went wrong, and what should have taken me an hour took me most of the night. So I was like, okay, this is, and then Hannah's coming home, so she needed her room back, and that's where I do my. Now I think I could set up the sock machine in the rest of the house somewhere else and work on them, but I'm like, but it's also Christmas weekend, and I'm having Christmas Eve, the family over for Christmas Eve. So I'm like, no, I love everyone in my family, but not everyone is getting a tail sock for Christmas. But actually, one person's going to get a cone of yarn, and then I will say, give me all your measurements, and you will get a sock within a few weeks. So anyway, so this was my experiment. The other pair, the first pair, I have to Kitchener the toe shut here, and like I said, I had trouble getting the waste yarn out. I finally, on one of them, I took one of these skinny little, I don't know if you can even see it on the camera, little double point needles, and I just picked up the sock yarn stitches, and then on the end for both sides, and then I was able to pull the waste yarn out, but it took me forever. And then the other one, and I was in Hannah's room, like on the night that she was arriving, with the purpose of cleaning up her room and buttoning up my big box. And I was like, they're picking up the stitches. Like, I really need to clean this room. She's like, the airplane is landing right now. Mark is at the airport picking her up right now with Eli, and I'm not even there to give her a hug when she gets off the plane because I'm cleaning her room. But no, what I'm really doing is picking up these stitches. I have lost my mind. So, in the interest of peace of my life, I am giving IOUs for Christmas. So there's a knitter on YouTube that I watch. He's very great. His name is Norman, and he's German, and I think his channel is called Nimble Needles, and he is fabulous. He's a great teacher, and I saw one of those. You know how YouTube people who have a lot of followers, whatever, they can put up just a post of like words or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he put a post the other day saying, your hands are more important than making sure like every single gift is done. Mm-hmm. Like, don't, and put a swatch of the yarn in a gift bag and say it's coming soon, that kind of thing. And I was like, thank you, Norman, for giving me permission. Because I'm like, okay, that's because literally I went to Mark and I'm like, because I mean, none of the yarns that I'm making these socks are like inexpensive. They're all like real sock yarn, that I spent money on, but they've all been in my stash for a long time. So I'm not saying like I'm not spending any money on anybody, but it's not like I went out and said, okay, I'm gonna get this sock for this yarn for in my Christmas budget. It's been in my yarn budget from a long time ago, but it's all beautiful sock yarn, right? Because I've just been collecting it when I got the machine, right? Yeah. That being said, I went to Mark and I was like, I've got to add a little bit to the Christmas budget this year because I have to call an audible, like I can do this, but I will sit at that sock machine all day, every day for the next 4 days, whatever it was, when I finally decided this. And he's like, no, I don't want you to do that. And I'm like, I don't want to do that either. I want to like enjoy Christmas. And so that's what it's about. So anyway, to all of you listening who thought maybe you were getting socks from me, which I'm sure is like 0 people. You will eventually, but just not tomorrow. What was I going to say? Oh, okay. So that was my sock adventure. Do I have anything else in here that I can show? No. Okay. What I decided... So I was at Hobby Lobby to buy stuff for the Christmas party and for giving things away. And hold on a second. And I was like, I want to just look at the yarn to see. Hang on. Sorry. I need to send a really quick message. So I went, I was gonna go look at the yarn. And I found, is that in here? Yeah, I did put that in here. I found 2 skeins of yarn that I could not walk by. So Hobby Lobby for a while had a lot of superwash merino fingering weight yarn. One of my shawls, and your shawl too, came from there, that I'm working on. And it was really great, high quality yarn, in my opinion, not just acrylics and acrylic blends. It was like real wool. And in recent times, they have not, they're getting rid of it.
They discontinued it.
But they still have some. So I walked over there and they had some in a bin. One of them was this.
That's pretty.
really pretty.
And the other one was this. And you can't really tell here. I'm going to put a picture of both of them on a chair. I'll show you guys the picture. Here it is. Oop. This is the one I'm knitting right here. So here's a picture of both of the skeins of yarn. Again, I started to wind it and I was like, wait, I gotta take a picture. Because when it's wound, you can't really see the color changes the way you can here. And so this is like purple and green, and it's really pretty. So I had heard about a pattern called the Musselburgh hat. And let's see here, I have a picture here. It's a simple hat. It looks like a simple hat when you look at the picture. It's just a simple hat. But what's cool about it, and I guess it's been like super crazy popular, because what it does is the construction is maybe it's not unique, because as I heard a lot of people saying that's just the way you make it on one of those circular knitting machines, or like the things where you do the hooks around the knitting. What are those called? Like frames or something? What are those called? You know what I mean? They're like a circle like this, and you take a hook and you
like you use in junior high or whatever.
Yeah. Like this is the way you make those. But what's unique is it starts in a little pinhole cast in the center, and then you make, which was the hardest thing. I spent an entire lunch hour trying to do this pinhole cast on, and I failed. And then the next day, I took another lunch hour and finally got it. It was hard for me. I don't know why. So that's a difficult thing, is doing the center hole cast on. But in crochet, it's easy. And actually, some people do it with a crochet hook to get it started. But that wasn't even the hard part for me. What the hard part was keeping these needles in the right order, because it was a variegated yarn. I got a little bit lost. Anyway, so you start this way, and then when you get it to a certain point that you can take a ruler and measure 1 inch of stitches across, that is your gauge. So you don't have to meet gauge before you start the hat. You start the hat and then determine what your gauge is, which is similar to the sweaters that I've started making, the bottom-up sweaters. And you determine what your gauge is, and then there's charts to say, if your gauge is this is how many increases you make. And then, so after it's a certain, so say you want to make a baby hat, and this is your gauge, you make this many increases, and then you start straight knitting. Or if you want to make a medium hat, adult hat, you determine what your gauge is, then it has a chart that says, okay, for that size, you make this many increases, and then knit straight. So it's kind of a custom pattern, and I think that's what people like, is that you don't have to meet gauge, you just start knitting. And then you figure out what your gauge is, and then it gives you it extrapolates out the math. for yourself. And so, so then once you do all the increases, and you can put it on a circular needle. Look at my cute little circulars in my, because my regular hat circumference needles, you can't even see this, it's so small. My regular hat circumference doesn't have this size needle in it. It goes to one size bigger. So I have these in my little Chai-Goo Shorty kit, and I put them, if you can see here, I put them together, because they're really for socks, but I put them together with this little connector, and now I have a hat size needle. So when I get enough stitches, I'll put it on here. But what's nice about it, once you do those increases, then you just knit in around. And I'm like, that sounds so nice. Because you can just do it at the movies, when you're sitting watching TV, when you're at lunch, when, you don't have to have a pattern. Like, I was so long in that shawl pattern for Miriam that I was like, I can't, like, I don't really want to think anymore. And so this is like my palette cleanser, I guess you could say. And I can do it when I can't have my sock machine out, and so I'm like, I wanted to get to it so much, like, okay, I released myself from the sock torture. I can't do it anyway because it's buttoned up, right? So last night I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sit and knit my hat, and I'm so stupid. I was so tired. I was like, how do I knit again? And I couldn't focus my eyes. I'm like, maybe I should go to bed. No. I'm supposed to get up early to go record tomorrow, but I need to do 2 rounds. I don't know what's wrong with me. I guess I'm like so busy that I want downtime, but then when I have downtime, I'm so tired that I'm like. So anyway, I think that's all I've been doing. That's me.
Well,
das me.
I don't have a lot to show you for a lot of reasons.
This is a really fun episode.
I made something for everybody, which I'm not going to show here, which took me...
So welcome to our channel where we're not going to show you anything.
Which took me a good portion of yesterday.
You're flying here.
I know. Ask Rogue. Fortunately, it didn't land in my drink this time.
Oh, remind me after we're all done, when we start stories, to talk about the quilt coat.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to talk about that, but I'll do that later.
So, I realized at some point that there was just absolutely no way I could do these two, which were the ones that were more important than the last two that I wanted to do.
You have the ornaments?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I did finish the two that needed to go out of state. Now, Christmas
the ones
is...
that are going out of state are the last ones for me.
Christmas is, what, day after tomorrow? We haven't mailed anything.
No.
But I FFO'd this one that I finished.
Yeah.
That's so pretty.
This is for Virginia.
Nice.
Well, technically I'm just going to put them both in the same package and they can decide whose is whose. One's for one, one's for the other. I thought about like switching out the jute or, painting this top or anything, but I thought, no, I like it just like that. So, and gluing it on here was no problem at all.
She says,
But
facetiously.
But getting it ready to glue on here took me 2 days because I had to rage quit a couple of times.
I
know. When I started this, I wasn't really thinking, and I only started it a little bit down from the top.
Oh.
And when you're going to gather something to put around a circle, you kind of need more fabric. And I first
Your
time
past self didn't do your present self any favors, is what you're saying.
and I drew I have those pens that erase when you iron them.
Uh-huh.
And I drew
I need those.
on the back. They're absolutely fabulous. I drew on the back where the circle was that I had cut out for this. And I did a gather stitch around, and should have been plenty of room. Could not get it over this thing that I cut out from the same circle. And I was like, it's supposed to fit. I don't know what's going on. And I would line up the sticky board circle to the fabric circle. It still wouldn't fit. So finally, like I said, I had to keep rage quitting, because when you're that frustrated, you end up doing something that you can't undo.
Right.
So finally, I just pulled the gathering stitch out and glued it. And the problem with just gluing it, down when you're doing a circle is you get like little points if you're not careful. But if I say so myself, there's only one point. And then when I was going to put the rickrack around it, I said, do I want green or do I want white? And I kind of held them both up like that, and they overlapped. So I ended up overlapping them.
That's great.
Yeah. And I was like,
That looks great.
that's really pretty. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, because she was showing to me, and I thought it looks like it's braided, like they're entwined, and
That's what I thought it was.
yeah.
So
it's
while
really cute.
while I was gluing this rickrack on, I had to be really careful to get the loops in each other, which, let me just tell you, was not as easy as you would think. Anyway, so that's FFO'd. I wrapped it and then unwrapped it so that I was like, oh, I forgot to take it. I forgot to take a picture of it, and I forgot to bring it over here. So
Yeah, that's as the two that I'm giving away. I could have brought here. I thought about it later, but
So
after that,
this is,
I just
all of these, by the way, have been out of this magazine. Christmas Ornaments 2023 Special Holiday Issue of Just Cross Stitch.
I see that. Just want to look at it.
So,
In case there's anything I want to start and never finish. As is my way.
or kit up and never start.
Exactly. That's my favorite part.
So this is Candy Swirls
Shut up.
by Judy Debortelli. I'm very good at kitting up stuff. I'm not very good.
Kit it up, promise it to someone, and never finish it. That's me.
So I thought briefly, I don't know, maybe Thursday night, I could finish this one, and there would just be one of the ones I really, really, really wanted to get done this time. No. I looked at it and I said, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to have to try to rush something and not enjoy what I'm doing, and so I went and spent money instead. Not that this stuff isn't money, and that's
Exactly.
That's what
That's
people-
what I was trying to say. Like, it's not like, it's not like a free present or spend money present. They're both spend money presents.
you just spend money at a different time, and
And also time. Time. Yeah.
lots of time. And then this one is Holy Family Folk Art, which I'm working on right now, and I had to frog out some because now it still looks wrong.
Ribbit.
Because the colors in the I can't hold up the picture. So the the colors in the
Well, we have a picture of it. We'll
I
put
know,
here.
but I can't
Oh.
like hold it up
Oh,
so I
I
can
see.
show you what I'm talking about. The colors in the, for lack of a better word, halos of Mary and Joseph are very, very close to each other. So when I realized I made some kind of mistake, I couldn't figure out where I was with what color until I kind of frogged it out a little bit, and then I was like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. And it was just that one you just pointed at was why I bought that magazine.
This thing? Mm-hmm. It's like a winter scene. Looks like almost like a Thomas Kincaid kind of painting. It's
Yeah,
really pretty.
but it's full coverage, and I
Yeah.
said I'm not going to try to do that right now.
It's
So,
really pretty.
but it's marked as easy in the book, I think.
Well, maybe it doesn't have any weird stitching.
Anyway, I'm back on putting in stitches instead of taking them out, which is good. It wasn't that anything was in the wrong place. I couldn't figure out if I missed a stitch somewhere else or just in the area, because otherwise I would have just gone up and added that stitch in. So that's what I'm working on. Now, the weather.
It's finally Christmassy.
Yesterday
poured
it
like
rained
crazy.
almost all day long.
Yeah.
The dog was very mad. She didn't want to go outside. So I'm working.
Even my cats were like, "What is that sound?"
So I'm working on the 2023 temperature SAL. And
You're almost done with the days. You only have a week left, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, well, a little bit more.
Well,
but yeah.
I mean of the actual. I said of the days.
So one day was like 79 degrees.
It was awful.
It was really hot for the end of December. Here's where I am. And yesterday, you can see it was much colder than it's been. We did get that kind of cold for a couple of days at the beginning of the month and at the end of November, but not with the rain. And with the rain, it felt colder, you know. I normally, I like the sound of rain. I always like the sound of rain. But it makes me sleepy.
Yes, everybody at work was like,
I had an 8 o'clock class in college, and I'd be lying in bed and I would hear the rain and I'd look outside, and I'm supposed to get up and go to breakfast and then go to my 8 o'clock class, and I would just like, I'm going back to bed. And I would just, I can't even tell you how many times I skipped that 8 o'clock class. I still got an A, but I couldn't, if it was raining, I just couldn't.
it was so rainy yesterday.
And a lot of the reason why I skipped that class was because my roommate would, she'd want to go to breakfast, which was at 7, I think. She'd want to go to breakfast, and she would set the alarm for like 4:30. Now, I am not somebody who can go to sleep. Never have been able to. I rarely go to sleep before midnight. And she would set the alarm for 4:30, and then she would get up and reset it for like 6. I like, why do you do that? And because she would go back to bed. Oh, so I can feel like I'm getting more sleep. Why don't you actually get more sleep and not do that? Because then I'm awake and it's hard for me to go back to sleep. So that 8 o'clock class, I almost never made it to breakfast either because it was so awful. So
When I was in college, I made the executive decision that sleep was more important than breakfast.
Yeah, it definitely was. Now, I had the advantage of having a cafeteria dorm thing that the food was delicious. We got steak once a week.
Nice. 'Cause you're in Texas. That's why.
I was in Texas, so yeah. Anyway, I have put this on my WIP-GO board. Now, if you watched my video that I aired on Monday, by the way, my videos are not going to be on Monday for the next 2 weeks because we have Christmas Day and then New Year's Day. They'll be on Tuesday. But I showed everything that I'm doing on my WIP. I showed, it wasn't exactly a WIP parade because I just stuck to the stuff on WIP-GO. And I put this on WIP-GO. I plan to still try to work on it every Friday. But I put it on WIP-GO so that I would take it out and kind of sort of concentrate on it. But I put it on the middle square.
To finish the
so I can finish
bottom.
the bottom part.
Yeah.
I love
the
that
flowers
part. That's my
and
favorite
stuff.
part.
I love the Southwest vibe
Yeah.
of this. And I've enjoyed doing this so much that part of me says, I wonder if I could find another one. But
For next year.
yeah,
I'm
I
proud
don't
of
know
you.
about that.
Like, I'm really proud of you that you have like done it the whole, like, consistently.
Kept it up.
The whole year. Every single day is there. I'm like,
I've really enjoyed it too.
really proud.
And I
of
can
you.
look back and like this weird weather year where, 3 weeks of
110.
over 110.
Yeah.
Well, almost the entire month of July was over 110. It was over 115. That was like many, many days.
Yeah.
And normally, okay, that sounds really extreme, guys, but we're used to temperatures over 115 in July. We're just not used to them going for more than a few
Weeks.
days.
Yeah.
But it was weeks. Yeah, and no rain. No
Yeah.
rain. Yesterday was the most rain that we've had in months. We've had a little bit of rain here, little spits of rain there, but it rained all day and it was great. Except the wind that accompanied it, untethered part of the snowman. I mean, the Santa Claus. We have one of those blow-up Santa Clauses outside, and
And he's currently dead.
well, he's always dead in the morning. But last night, he kept lying down on his back, and I would try to prop him up, and he'd lie down on his front. I was like, "You are stumbling drunk, guy."
We're so unused to the rain. This is what happened to us. We were driving. I took Eli to work because it was a miserable rain, and I didn't work yesterday. So I took him to work, and Hannah went for the ride. So we're driving back down Jefferson, and the car in front of us we were on the very right-hand side. The car in front of us went through a puddle that was right at a bus stop, and this girl who was wearing nothing on her leg, so in my opinion, but anyway, that's her fault. But the car splashed her, and then it didn't register to me. And Hannah was like, "Oh my gosh, the car just splashed that girl, how rude." And then we went through it like a second later, and she's like, you splashed her too, oh my gosh. I'm like, Hannah, none of us are used to this rain. We don't know that, we don't understand that water goes like that when you run through it. We're not used to water accumulating so much that we understand how tires affect it when you drive by at 40 miles an hour. That is not our fault. It's a complete accident. It's a hazard of Arizona.
And it's also her fault for standing so close to the edge of the road. So
she didn't understand puddles either. It's not her fault.
So there are a lot of, by the way, I'm done. There are a lot of truly strange stories here for the rain.
Yeah.
When I was driving Uber, there was a couple of days, with one of the days that it rained, I had just gotten the Odyssey, right? And I couldn't figure out where the defroster was in the car. And I'm driving, and it's getting foggier and foggier. That my passenger was like, "What are you doing?"
Oh my God.
And I was like, it's a new car. I'm trying to figure out how to turn on the defroster. I figured it out at a light. But I'm driving. It was not raining hard, but it had been raining all day. And I was getting, going from one freeway, getting off the freeway, going to the airport. You know how if you're coming from the north, there's this big giant curve to get off the freeway and get toward the airport. Mm-hmm. And all along that thing, there was a brand new along the edge.
No.
And then you see a crumpled car over there.
No.
And you're like, dude, it says to go slow.
And it's raining.
And it's raining. And you know, they have to put up signs that say, slow down, wet roads.
Slow down.
Yeah.
I always think of the rain here when we had that no good, very bad day when I had a doctor's appointment. We were at the doctor all day long, from early in the morning until after they were closed, because it was when I had just had my brain surgery, and I have a shunt, and it has a magnetic little dilly-do here to adjust it, and they have to put a little, halo on my head to move it. So I went in for an appointment, it was a follow-up appointment, and they were trying to check the setting on the shunt and weren't quite sure if it was right or whatever, and so they wanted me to have an X-ray to see where it was or whatever, and they wanted to do it.
And it was raining all day.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they wanted to do it right away, and the insurance company wanted to have it take several days or and so the doctors were like, that's not right away then. so they determined that the way for me to do it right away was to go to the emergency room of
Which
the
is
hospital.
in the bottom of the building.
Yeah, which is it's over there. So we went to the emergency room, but since I'm not, I wasn't bleeding to death, the emergency room,
Took their time.
yeah, and shunted me to the bottom of the list. So we were sitting in there and sitting in there and sitting in there and listening to some crazy lady was.
Wasn't it that you couldn't eat because they didn't know if you were going to have surgery again or something?
No,
or
that
you
was
just tied up.
We were just there, all day. So we waited for a long time, and then finally I went back and took the X-ray, and then we waited for a long time to, I don't know, it was all kinds of craziness.
Have it read, and then we had to go back up to the doctor's office, and
So-
they were basically closed, but they saw you.
Yeah, so at the doctor's office, also we didn't have an appointment to go, so we had to sit there and sit there and sit there. And so at the end of the day, they finally, were able to, to see me again. And so we had been there all day. And I don't know if we had even eaten anything at all.
No, and the nurse practitioner brought us some granola bars and stuff because we were.
Yeah,
but so in that area downtown, it's sort of uptown, the streets, none of the streets here drain very well.
Yeah.
And they have storm drains, but they get overwhelmed very easily. Mm-hmm. And there are certain parts of the city that just get ankle deep flooded. That part.
Those of you who don't live in the Southwest, the storm drains they shunt. They do not go down
into a sewer system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it just gets backed up, and the street that the hospital is on is one of those streets.
So when we had got out of the doctor's office, Naomi went to get the car, and it was at a parking structure, but it was on the top level of the parking structure where there's no roof, so it was getting rained on. So she had me keep her purse because so it wouldn't get
Full
rained
of
on.
water. Well, and I had to walk outside across the street and all that.
Yeah. So I was waiting, and there's a little breezeway between the doctor's office and another office building. And so I was sitting in there, and I remember the wind was blowing, and I was getting spray for the rain. But the nurse practitioner that had seen me was, she came out, and she was asking me, are you okay? You ever, it's like, yeah, Naomi's just, get in the car. And it was, taking a long time. And so she stayed there with me and, was talking with me.
The reason it took a long time
Yeah.
was that I had left my purse with her because it was pouring rain. And now they validated parking there, but for I can't remember the reason that I didn't get it validated.
No, you did get it validated.
But you didn't have it.
No.
Oh, no. I had gotten it validated, but the validation was only for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we had been there for
all day.
And so I had my ticket. It was validated from the office, and I went to the check to get out. And he's like, "Oh no, you've been here too long."
It doesn't work that way.
Like you're gonna go shopping at the hospital.
It's like $2 or something. And I had no money, no wallet, no purse. And I was like, I don't have anything with me. It's across the street. We were here this long because of the doctor, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, it doesn't work that way. Like, he was a total
he's a
jerk.
horrible person.
And I was like, there is nothing I can do. Because I was literally in the chute to leave. It's not like I could get out. I mean, I guess I could have backed the car. What does he want me to do? I'm like, what do you want me to do? I have no money. My money is across the street. And my ticket is validated. We were here at a doctor's appointment. Like, it was the biggest fight of my life to even just get out of there. I'm like, what do you want me to do? You want me to just cut my arm open and you can have some of my blood? Like, what do you want? So finally, he wrote, well, I said, fine, I'll come. I don't know what I said. Like, I was going to come back and pay.
Yeah.
And he wrote it on the ticket or something. And he finally let me out that I owed money to this stupid garage. And I was sopping wet, so angry. Because when I went to get to the car, I had to walk across the street, and there was this much water in the street. So I just had to slog through it, and then go to it was up on the upper level. It was pouring rain. So I'm sopping wet. I'm angry. I'm hangry. And I'm thinking, how am I going to drive home? Because everything's flooded. Like, you have to pick which
way to go. Yeah.
Well, and it was a good
I think they even closed the freeway again that day.
It was a good thing that the lady was waiting with us and actually they brought us these little they're like Starbucks does those little protein boxes with the egg and the whatever crackers and all that stuff. And so it was something similar to that they had in the cafeteria, of the hospital, I guess, or something, because she had sent, one of the workers there for the hospital, for the doctor's office, to get us something to eat because we had been there all day with nothing to eat. So they had brought those to us, but she would, like I said, was waiting with me. So when Naomi came finally from the prison of the parking garage, when Naomi came, she we were saying, gosh, what took so long? And she was explaining what the guy had done. And the doctor, the nurse practitioner lady said, that he apparently was a grumpy Gus like that with everybody. And they had complaints about him and everything. And so she said, never mind, don't worry about it. I'll deal with it. And so she took our IOU ticket and we were able to go. But then, so when we were leaving, Naomi was like, I don't think we should go through the freeway, blah, blah, blah. And so every street we were on was flooded. The canal system was.
Looking back, we probably should have gone on the freeway because we wound up in just flooded streets
and
the whole way home.
The traffic was terrible.
We crawled
and we had to get gas too. We were out of gas, and oh my gosh, it was just it was a no good, horrible, very bad day.
Yeah, it was really bad. Ugh. Oh my gosh. Oh, I need to talk about something. Okay. What did I just...
The jacket.
Yeah. So, last week, Nora Sayer, 8318, you asked a very nice question about my quilted jacket. You loved it. Thank you so much. And I had it on the table to bring with me today, and I forgot it. I made that a couple of years ago. And if you go back to about episode 64, or excuse me, 65, right after... Between 64 and 65, I did a special episode about that jacket. What the quilt pattern on it is called Hunter Star, but I used something called Quilt Smart, which if you watch that special episode, you'll realize that I did not like it. I did not like Quilt Smart. I could have made that Hunter Star pattern by myself without using Quilt Smart. But the pattern for the jacket itself, the whole like sewing pattern for the jacket was called Tamarack. The Tamarack jacket, and it has a lot of variations. So you can make a hood, you can make a collar. I made the collarless one, like you saw.
Buttons.
You can do buttons or snaps, and it has 2 different pocket types, I think.
I think so, yeah.
I did the slit pocket. There's a flap pocket, I think, and it's a very nice pattern. It's a digital pattern, and you can. I took it to FedEx.
Yeah, you have to
office,
take it somewhere that can print larger
and
things.
I got it printed large, and it worked beautifully. The pattern is very well explained. It's really great. So that's called the Tamarack jacket. So you could just make it from a solid piece of fabric and quilt it yourself, with batting, and then make the jacket. Or, you can obviously, what I did was I pieced it together using Quilt Smart, which is not very, as I say, and then it's not very smart. So those are, I talk about it around episodes, like I said, that special episode right before episode 65 through 68 in there, if you want to go back and hear my ranting and raving about it. But so that's that. I just wanted to answer that question. I'm sorry I didn't write it in the comments, but I thought it's like kind of too much, so I thought I'd answer it here instead. But my Hannah came home.
Oh, I meant to say,
came home.
I'm still in the process of formulating my WIP-GO for next year.
Oh,
But I did make some progress on it. This is my, on the other side of it, my what I'm considering doing for WIP-GO for next year. So I have a few pattern sets, if you will, that are like the Rabbit series. And Rabbit was done by Ink Circles last year, 2022, I think. And so there's a pattern for each month, right? So there's 12 patterns. And last year, I think I started, every month I started the pattern for the month, but I didn't finish them all. So they're all in various, I think it was, maybe it was 2021, because I did the January Rabbit for cross stitch camp, the first year we did cross stitch camp. So since I had already done the January one, I went ahead and did all the rest of them the next year in 2022. So, but I think the pattern was from 21. Anyway, so this year I had FFOs on my WIP-GO list, and so one of them I did the January, February, and March Rabbits were finished, so I FFO'd them. So, but all the others are not finished. So I have 9 that are in various stages of completion, and so those are going to be on my WIP-GO list. The Prairie Schooler Starry Night set is 7 patterns. 7 patterns, and I started that during, I don't know if I started it from Mania or if I started it just because, but so I just have a little bit of a start on one of the 7 patterns. So I think that's going to be on there in some form or another. I have the Sleepy Hollow series that I worked on for WIP-GO before, and I don't know if the second one is finished or almost finished, but there's a third and a fourth part, and the little toppers, because I want to make them into drums, theoretically. But anyway, so I think that might be in the list, and then I have a bunch of Mania starts that were new starts, and so some of those, but maybe not all of them, are going to be on that list. And also I have a pattern that I created. It's not real. It's not a sampler. I don't know what you would call it, but it's just a pattern that I created a couple of years ago. I think I did it in 2018, 19, because I took it to. It was finished in 2019 for when I went to Stitch-a-long. So I think I may have done it in 2018. But it's the hymn "Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing," but it's really big. But then I didn't FFO it because there were certain things in it I was dissatisfied with. So I redid the whole thing. I recharted it and restarted it, but I did not finish it. So that's going to be on my WIP-GO list, I think. So I think what I'm going to do is for all of those unfinished series. And A Year in the Woods is also a year in the woods, the Cottage Garden Samplings series that I've been working on this year. I think that's going to be on my list also.
Well, the new numbers come out in 2 days.
Yeah, I know. That's why I have this. I haven't worked on because I've been stitching like crazy on my Christmas things. But so I'm.
I wonder what the world would look like if we started our Christmas stitching in January for December 24.
But then
Yeah.
you change your mind because you see other things.
But so I'm in the process of elimination or how I'm going to do it. I think for things like Starry Night and things that are, those I'm going to count as like new starts perhaps. It's like that, and I might put like because Eve suggested that I put in a square, just rabbit and let it and not be specific about which one, so that I can pick whichever like
maybe
if I've
one
got,
that's close to being done
Yeah.
or something like that.
yeah, and
if it's June, she can do the June one or whatever.
Yeah, so it gives me some leeway because then also, I want to do something for. I'm assuming we'll have cross stitch camp again, and the prompts on those, it depends on what Sherry Berger, she's the one who does that, organizes that, what she chooses to be the theme for that month or whatever. So I may end up doing something else for cross stitch camp. And so I have the flexibility of doing something else for WIP-GO that that maybe won't require as heavy work or whatever. So anyway, I'm still going to do a combination of new starts and WIPs, but probably not like my older WIPs that I have that I have used before, like the ships and things like that. I still want to finish all my older WIPs, but I want to work on my new things too. So, and then I think with like this year I did a whole bunch of FFOs, and I don't know that I have that many left. That I had before all piled up. I have a couple that I know.
So you just
for
make
sure.
one square FFOing or something like that.
Right. So I'm I don't think I'm going to have as many FFOs as I did. So that leaves me some leeway also. Maybe I'll make my goal a little longer or something like that. And this month I have a few days left, but I still have 2 FFOs to do to meet my goal for WIP-GO for this month. So
Only if you count that the FFOs that are actually on your WIP-GO, but it's your board, your rules. You did 2 FFOs this.
that's true.
You did a whole bunch of FFOs.
I did new starts and FFOs this month. So
I think you should absolve yourself of all that.
Yeah, I might because the 2 that I have left are one Twin Peak Primitives thing, Easter preparation, that I absolutely loved. I saw it, and the minute I saw it, I bought it, and I stitched it when we went to that cabin in Greer.
Oh,
And
that was such a nice
I was
time.
working on it. It's
that.
absolutely adorable. It's a big bunny and little mice, and they're painting Easter eggs. But it's kind of a longish thing, so I'm not sure how I'm going to FFO that. And the other one I have is Luminous Fiber Arts Gathering Berries, which is a kind of a square thing, and I might have something that'll go on. But again, it would be since I've already done FFOs and I've already done new starts. I
have decided that my New Year's resolution is to no longer feel stress about self-imposed deadlines. If I'm the one that did the deadline, why am I like?
Yeah.
I can understand if it's a deadline from a boss, then you can stress. But if it's your own self-imposed deadline, just be like, "Hey, self, you're okay. You have more time."
Yeah. So yeah. Well,
why create stress for yourself?
well, like like I said, I think I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned it in our Sticks and Strings thing last year, or if I mentioned it on my channel, my update. But about that poem about I'm going to tend to my little acts of love early.
Yeah.
So that for Christmas I can actually sit still and enjoy, listen to the angels sing and that sort of thing. And
But even that instills guilt, right? Because if you didn't do it early, now you feel guilty. But I'm sort of the like, maybe.
But I guess the idea is whatever you're going to do for Christmas, do it early so that you can not be up to the last minute.
Of course, but like what I'm saying is, those of us who didn't, does that make us feel even worse? You know what I mean? Like, also, maybe it's just okay if you didn't do it early. Yeah, so at work, I was joking, like, I don't want to be last minute Lucy. That's my new thing. So I'm going to get a picture of Lucy Van Pelt, and I'm going to put a big knot sign through her, and I'll put it on my desk. No last minute Lucy. It's the worst. It's the worst. And I realized, too, this is the first Christmas, I think I said this last week, this is the first Christmas since before the kids were born that I've worked full-time.
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot what that's like. Like yesterday I took the day off and I was just like, whoa. Like, and I still ran around all day, but at least I had time to do that,
Well, that's like when Eve and I were talking about, about getting the tree and getting it up and all that stuff, that when I lived in Little Rock, I would try to get, I had gotten to where I got a real tree instead of the artificial trees that I had at first. I just found that I enjoyed it a lot more and all that. But in order to get it taken care of, I would usually get a tree like the first weekend after I got back from Thanksgiving. I'd get it like the first weekend of December, because otherwise
you don't enjoy it.
I couldn't enjoy it because if that weekend wasn't if I wasn't able to do it that weekend, once December started, all the Christmas specials and all the concerts and things that I had to play were going on, and then I would leave town to come home for Christmas. And so it wasn't worth it to get it, any later than that, because then it would just, I'd look at it for 3 days and leave, So, it's that, getting it up early and all that so that you can actually enjoy. But I would have to make sure that I had that weekend so I could decorate the tree and I could put the lights up and I'd put lights on my balcony and
Yeah.
So it's. That I love that cartoon thing that says, "Oh yay, it's December," and then smack, I'm a musician.
Yeah. But I just dropped my needle. Don't chew on it, doggy. Where did it go? Oh, way over there. Excuse me while I get my needle. But Hannah came home. She's home now, but I had to clean her room, so that was the downside of her coming home.
Yeah. Hannah, you can't go home yet. I haven't cleaned your room.
So it's nice to have her back, and
yeah,
we're gonna have a little Christmas Eve party.
Yes.
So that's going to be
Or
fun.
sort of
A
traditional
la
when we
mom.
were
Yeah.
when we were kids. I think we talked about it last week, or
I don't know.
No, I don't think we
I
did.
don't think we did because
that when we were kids, my mom used to.
well, even when we were adults.
Yeah, my mom used to host a party for all of our relatives. Several of my dad's sisters lived in town,
And yeah.
and so we would just have a big party with whoever was and I just remember, especially as little kids, the house filled with people, and then we would in our dining room have the spread of all the buffet kind of stuff, and so people would just go around and get their food, and then all the dining room chairs were like in the other room because of
Do you
all the
remember
people.
Mom used to make a popcorn bowl?
Yes. Don't expect it this year.
And
No,
then-
so I decided.
They're
yeah.
hard to make.
Yeah.
And you burn the heck out of your hands.
But so I decided a couple weeks ago, I was like, I want to be that. I want to do that. So I decided I'm gonna host a Christmas Eve party a la mom, and just embrace it. So because I realized one of the things I told them last week was like, because we lost our mom so close to Christmas, it's been very hard for me the last couple of years. And, I mean, all of us, I'm sure, but I'm just speaking for myself. But I realized that looking back on my life, our mom also lost people over the years. And I don't ever remember, I don't know if you do, but I don't ever remember a time when Mom said, I'm too sad to have Christmas. You know what I mean? No.
She lost her mom in October.
Yeah, I know. But I don't ever remember her ever expressing that. Maybe she felt it, but she never expressed that to us, and we certainly never felt any effects of that. So I was like, yeah, Mom would want us to continue and have a good Christmas, and I think maybe it comforted her, and maybe that's where she, where she drew her joy is doing that for people. So anyway, so I decided, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna have a Christmas party at my house on Christmas Eve, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, I remember when we were kids, that was where the first time I tasted coffee. Because my mom would make one of those big coffee maker urn things that they used to have.
Yeah.
And so toward the end of the evening, when all the adults had their coffee and all this stuff, we would have a little bit of coffee and a whole lot of milk and sugar.
I had a little plastic coffee cup. It was a little brown plastic coffee cup. Mom would make me a coffee in there. And that was little. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing. One of the things we had every year was a green sherbet punch. Just sherbet and 7-Up. But it was like so good. Okay? Well, guess what, people? There is no lime sherbet anywhere to be found. There's only rainbow sherbet. If y'all know of a store that sells, well, it'll be too late. Well, I guess if you comment Christmas, come here. If you comment Christmas Eve morning and we see it, I might have time to go get it. But I couldn't find just plain lime sherbet.
Yeah.
So I got rainbow. So they had a big bucket of sherbet, and they were all rainbows, but the kids were like, just use rainbow. I'm like, no, it'll turn brown. But I found one where, how they just into the things, right? So there was it was almost just green and the red one.
Did
And
they
a
have
little
Did they have
sliver.
raspberry sherbet?
No, I said I'll settle for any solid one.
Yeah.
There were little things like this of orange sherbet that Hannah found. Little ones like this. Now, yeah, I should check Costco.
I was gonna say
Maybe I'll go to Costco today and see. But anyway, the one I found was mostly green on this side, and then mostly red with a little sliver of orange. So I think I can just scoop out the green, and then if I have to remake it, just use the red, and that'll but I'm like, you can't put all 3 in there. It'll
Yeah.
just turn. The foam would be brown. Anyway, my mom always made that. You put the sherbet in the bottom, and you pour the 7-Up inside, and it foams up, and it kind of melts the sherbet, and it's it's my favorite.
It was my favorite. Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. The other punch I make regularly is recital punch.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
very special punch. You want the recipe? It's great. It would also work for Christmas. It would be very Christmassy.
What kind of punch?
I call it recital punch. Every
Oh
time
yeah,
Hannah
yeah,
had a
yeah.
recital.
I remember.
So you get an ice ring, like a bundt cake mold, and you put water and berries, like all different kinds of berries.
Did you try Walmart?
No, they might have it. So I was really trying to avoid them.
Yeah, I had to go to Walmart.
Isn't
Because she
that
had
what
a bunch.
everybody says? I had to go to Walmart for whatever. Like sometimes you just have to.
No,
go.
I avoid Walmart like the plague.
I like it.
I know, and I wouldn't go if it wasn't for you. 99%.
But you
of the
know
time
what?
I
Let me
go.
tell you something.
But there are some things that Walmart is the best place to find it.
Right, and Eli and I went there to the one he used to work at, and we walked in and we're like, what happened to Walmart?
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Where?
At the one on Chandler. It's like the clothes
Because it
thing
looks
is
like-
all redone. It
Yeah.
looks like a baby Target. Like Target's almost grown up.
The only problem for me is that they've rearranged everything, so you have to get,
But I mean, it was really nice, and I thought the clothes looked really nice. So, anyway, what was I going to say?
I don't know.
So next
Oh,
year.
about the recital punch.
Oh, recital punch. Okay, so you get a bundt cake mold, and you put water in it, and you put in berries. You can be frozen or fresh, whatever you want, and freeze it. And that's your ice ring. And then for the punch, you put in frozen berries loose, and then you do juicy juice berry flavor. That is the best juicy juice. And I know I discovered it because my kids used to drink juicy juice. So juicy juice berry flavor to one bottle of that to 1 bottle of 7-Up. And then the ring mold, and then the frozen berries are just floating also in there. So good. Simple. But it has to be juicy juice berry flavor. And if they ever discontinue juicy juice berry flavor, I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't made it in years.
Is that we made something similar
That's what I made at
for
your recital.
my recital? Yeah.
Yes, it was recital punch. and we also do for every recital Hannah's ever done that I've hosted, we do that punch, and then we do a fruit salad, just fruit, not anything in it. But
I know I bombarded you with reels from that I've just this morning, but there was one charcuterie board, Star Wars style. So all these things, like a way to make the little, what is it, the BB.
I didn't see that.
I sent it to you. I think
You sent me a Yoda saying. I thought you said, Pilates. I thought you said pie and lattes. Pie and lattes.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the charcuterie board.
Yeah, there was a charcuterie board.
Apparently, the only way you can get lime sherbet close by is if you buy those lime sherbet popsicles and put those in instead.
I'm saying I don't. So I was like, next year, not this year, because I have an ice cream maker. So next year I have to learn how to make lime sherbet, but not this year. So
Yeah. Well, we better go because I have things I need to do.
Yeah.
I have people to tote around town.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm learning how to make a charcuterie board this year. Hannah's teaching me. She knows everything. I'm just saying.
What's to know?
I've never made them before. I want it to look nice. Okay. We hope that you have a very wonderful Christmas.
Yes.
And thank you so much for being our viewers, for hanging out with us. We hope that you got your last minute stitching done while you were listening to this podcast. And look, I made a little bit more of a hat.
For a mouse.
A hat for a mouse, as Hannah said. As Beth said. So thanks so much for joining us on this Christmas Eve morning, and we hope that you have a great Christmas, and we will see you for the new year.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Say goodbye.
I said bye.
Say goodbye.